Hey there, fellow deep divers. Today we're tackling a topic that's probably got you nodding along in a
Yeah.
been there kind of feeling that kind of way.
Yeah.
Business transformation in the age of, well, constant crisis.
It's like the ground is always shifting, right?
Right.
Between economic uncertainty and global shakeups, it can feel like perma-crisis is the new normal for businesses.
Exactly. And while it's tempting to just hunker down and wait for the dust to settle, it seems like a lot of companies are realizing that's just not a winning strategy anymore.
Right.
Instead, they're using this moment of upheaval to totally transform.
Yeah.
Not just to survive, but to come out ahead.
And that's exactly what's so fascinating about this recent global survey of over 400 C-suite execs. These are the folks on the front lines navigating massive companies through all the uncertainty.
Wow.
And you know what? They're surprisingly optimistic.
Okay, now that's interesting.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want a dose of optimism in this day and age?
Yeah.
What's got these execs feeling so hopeful? It's not like the challenges have magically disappeared.
Well, exactly. They haven't. But what these leaders seem to have realized is that transformation isn't just about weathering the storm. It's about building a business that thrives because of the storm. 3 out of 4 of these execs believe that market conditions will actually improve in the next year, and they're using this moment to make bold moves.
So they're not just reacting to every twist and turn. They're using those shifts to gain a competitive edge.
Yeah.
What's the secret? What's driving this shift from, oh no, put out that fire, to let's build something amazing while things are in flux?
A huge part of it is a laser focus on sustainable growth. We're not just talking about short-term gains here, but strategies that will stand the test of time.
Right.
In fact, 63% of the companies surveyed are making sustainable growth their top priority.
So they're playing the long game, which makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
But how does that translate into actual results?
Those companies that are nailing their transformation objectives are forecasting a whopping 16% higher revenue growth and 12% higher profit growth than those who aren't.
Wow.
Think about it. In a permacrisis, that kind of edge could be the difference between thriving and just barely scraping by.
Okay, those are numbers anyone can get behind.
Yeah.
But let's get out of the clouds of theory here and break it down to the practical stuff.
Yeah.
What are these successful companies actually doing to make transformation work for them?
One of the most powerful approaches we're seeing is something called end-to-end margin transformation.
Okay.
Sounds like a mouthful, but stick with me.
Okay.
We'll unpack it together.
Sounds good to me. Let's dive into E2EMT.
So imagine you're a company that's facing some challenges, maybe growth has stalled, profits are down, and you're starting to fall behind your competitors.
Yeah.
It's a situation many businesses find themselves in, especially in the midst of a permacrisis.
It's that feeling of we need to do something different, but what? Been there.
Exactly. And that's where E2EMT comes in.
Okay.
It's a holistic approach that looks at every single step in your business, from how you develop products to how you interact with customers, and finds ways to optimize for both growth and profitability.
It's like giving your entire business a tune-up and an upgrade at the same time.
That's a great way to put it. And a great example of E2EMT in action comes from a company in the testing, inspection, and certification industry, or TIC for short.
All right.
This particular TIC company was stuck in a rut.
Okay.
Their growth was sluggish, and they were falling behind their competitors. They knew they needed to transform to survive, so they decided to give E2EMT a try.
So they rolled up their sleeves and got to work. What did that actually look like for them?
They focused on 6 key areas: streamlining their portfolio to focus on their most profitable offerings, optimizing pricing, creating a more agile and cost-effective operating model,
Wow.
optimizing their capital allocation, fostering a culture of performance and accountability, and crucially, empowering their managers to lead the charge.
That's a pretty comprehensive list. It sounds like they weren't afraid to tackle any aspect of their business. But did it work?
It did, and spectacularly. They doubled their organic growth, gave their profitability a serious boost, and even caught the eye of a major private equity firm who saw them as a smart investment.
Talk about a transformation success story. So E2EMT isn't just some abstract concept. It's a practical framework that can lead to tangible results.
Yeah.
Wow, hearing that story really drives home the point that transformation isn't just about surviving tough times, it's about emerging even stronger. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that's practically synonymous with transformation these days. AI, it's everywhere you look. How does it fit into the transformation puzzle?
It's not just a puzzle piece anymore. It's rapidly becoming the whole puzzle board. Remember those optimistic executives we talked about, the ones who are confident about the future?
Yeah.
A full 100% of them are either already using or planning to use AI in their transformation journeys.
Okay, so AI is clearly not just a passing fad, it's a total game changer. But we've all been burned by hype before. Are companies really seeing results with AI, or are they just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And the answer is it's already happening. The surveys showed that nearly half of these companies aren't just dipping their toes in the AI pool, they're diving headfirst into generative AI. And that's where things get really interesting.
Generative AI, the kind that can write poems and even compose music, I get that it's impressive, but how does that translate to, actual business outcomes?
Think about the tasks that eat up time in your day, the things that could be done faster or more efficiently. Generative AI has the potential to completely reshape how work gets done, from automating those tedious tasks that used to take hours to generating creative content and innovative strategies in a fraction of the time.
So it's not just about replacing human jobs, it's about freeing us up to focus on bigger picture thinking and strategic decision making.
Exactly. Imagine being able to analyze massive data sets and extract those golden nuggets of insight in minutes, something that would take a team of human analysts weeks to accomplish. That's the power of generative AI.
That's the optimistic view. But let's be real, we all know that technology can have its downsides. Are there any potential pitfalls to watch out for when it comes to AI and transformation?
You're absolutely right. It's not a magic bullet. One of the biggest traps companies fall into is thinking that AI will magically solve all their problems without any effort on their part. You can't just sprinkle AI on top of existing problems and expect them to vanish.
So it's not a quick fix.
Yeah.
What's the key to making sure AI-powered transformation actually delivers on its promise?
Balanced companies. Companies need to find that sweet spot between leveraging AI's incredible power and preserving the irreplaceable value of human touch, especially when it comes to customer experience.
That makes a lot of sense. You don't want to sacrifice a great customer experience just for the sake of efficiency, especially if it ends up backfiring and costing you more in the long run.
Exactly. People crave connection, empathy, and understanding. Those are things AI, at least for now, can't fully replicate. Striking that balance is key.
So how do you walk that tightrope? How do you embrace the power of AI without alienating your customers in the process? What does that look like in the real world?
It's about being smart and strategic. Remember how we talked about companies getting so caught up in cross-cutting during transformations that they sometimes neglect the customer experience?
Right. They lose sight of the forest for the trees.
Precisely. By keeping a laser focus on customer-centric key performance indicators like Net Promoter Scores, you have a tangible way to measure the impact of your transformation on customer satisfaction. Are your customers happier? More likely to recommend your product or service? These metrics tell the tale.
It's like having a customer happiness barometer built right into your transformation strategy. So even if you're implementing AI and automation, you're doing it in a way that keeps the customer front and center.
You got it. And here's a sobering thought. The survey revealed that a staggering 81% of companies don't actually hit all of their transformation goals. Often it's because they fail to strike that balance between cost discipline and customer delight.
Ouch, 81%. That's a pretty dismal success rate. It really highlights how important it is to get that balance right if you want your transformation to succeed. So we've talked about the importance of balancing AI with the human touch, but how do you actually do that? It's easy to say, don't forget the customer, but what does that look like in action?
You're right. It's about more than just good intentions. It's about weaving customer centricity into the very fabric of your transformation strategy.
Give me an example. How can a company make sure they're prioritizing customer experience even while undergoing major changes?
Think about a financial institution undergoing a major digital transformation, something we're seeing a lot of these days.
Right.
The easy route is to go all in on automation. Replace human tellers with ATMs, encourage online banking, maybe even throw in a chatbot for good measure.
And while that might seem efficient on paper, I can already hear the collective groan of customers who just want to talk to a real person when they have a complex issue.
Exactly. The key is to not just digitize for the sake of digitizing, but to use technology to actually enhance the customer experience.
Okay.
Maybe that means investing in AI-powered tools that help customer service reps resolve issues faster and more effectively.
Oh, boy.
Or perhaps it's about creating personalized online experiences that are tailored to individual needs and preferences.
So it's about working smarter, not just harder. using technology as a tool to empower employees and create a smoother, more enjoyable experience for customers.
Right. And it's not just about what you do, but also how you do it. Communication is key. When companies undergo transformations, especially those involving cost-cutting measures, it's easy for customers to feel like they're being left in the dark.
You're telling me nothing makes me more anxious as a customer than feeling like a company's making big changes that will impact me without bothering to explain what's going on.
Transparency is crucial.
Yeah.
Companies need to be upfront with their customers about the changes they're making and why, and they need to do it in a way that feels authentic and empathetic, not like a corporate robot reading from a script.
So it's about honesty, clear communication, and maybe even a little vulnerability.
Precisely, the more you can make your customers feel like they're part of the journey, the more likely they are to stick with you, even through the bumps in the road.
This has been incredibly insightful, but I think the question on everyone's mind is, where do we go from here? What's the one big takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with today?
The most successful companies aren't just weathering the storm of permacrisis, they're using it as fuel to propel themselves forward. They're embracing transformation as an opportunity to not just survive, but thrive, and they're doing it by staying laser-focused on sustainable growth, leveraging the power of AI while preserving the irreplaceable value of human connection, and never ever forgetting the importance of a stellar customer experience.
So for anyone listening who's feeling overwhelmed by the constant state of flux, remember, transformation isn't something to be feared, it's something to be harnessed.
Embrace the change, challenge the status quo, and most importantly, never stop looking for ways to create value for your customers. They're the heart of your business, and their success is ultimately your success.
Words of wisdom to end on. That's it for today's deep dive into the world of business transformation. We've covered a lot of ground, but hopefully you'll walk away feeling energized and equipped to tackle whatever challenges or opportunities come your way.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.